Welcome to Codex History of Video Games. My name's Tyler Osby.
And I'm Mike Coletta.
And this week, we're discussing one of my favorite films of all time, the Super Mario Brothers movie from 1993. And if you're looking in your podcast feed right now, you may have noticed that 2 episodes dropped today. This is episode 200. Congratulations to us for hitting episode 200.
Yay.
But also, episode 200.5, which is us doing audio commentary of the Super Mario Brothers movie. So you can watch the Super Mario Brothers movie, sync that up with it, and hear our witty banter the whole time. Kind of like how we did for the Doom movie for our 100th episode. And we should actually do these more often, I think.
I think so, too. They're really fun for us, and it's really just a way for us to hang out, 1, and 2, also watch these ridiculous video game movies that we love.
Yeah, maybe one day we'll watch a good one.
Maybe, but that's highly doubtful. You know, I think it's more fun to watch the bad ones. Although I think the consensus between the two of us, Tyler, is this movie is bad, but very entertaining.
Yeah, it's not a good movie. It's not a great film. This is not a 2 thumbs up from Roger Ebert. This is, you watch a movie and it doesn't pretend to be anything it's not, and it's action-packed, and it's pretty ridiculous. And you know what? It's not too long. It's like an hour and a half, a little over an hour and a half. You know, you just sit down, strap in, and you blast off with your stupid jump shoes. I don't know.
That's right. You blast off with your thwomps. That's what they're called,
your
right?
thwomp stompers.
Thwomp stompers. Yeah. I wish they should. That's a marketing opportunity.
Yeah, they missed out on that.
Oh, man. So this is more of a discussion of like the movie and stuff. We're not going to go into that much of the development history, but there are some funny things I read. Did you know that Harold Ramis was offered the directorship of this movie? Is that the right word? Directorship? I don't know.
Yeah, sure.
I just made it up. It sounds correct. And he turned it down. And then later on, he said it was the smartest decision of his career. was not taking this movie.
Yeah, this movie had a budget of 42 to 48 million. This is according to Wikipedia, and only made 38.9 at the box office. So it did not make its money back in theaters, although I think with DVD sales, and I think by now it probably has some kind of cult following. It's probably been a money-making venture, but not a whole lot. That's not a great movie. It doesn't really have a whole lot to do with Super Mario Brothers, other than it has 2 characters named Mario and Luigi, and they're plumbers, and they have to stop an evil King Koopa who's like a dinosaur kind of thing. But it does have Dennis Hopper.
Dude, Dennis Hopper acts this movie so hard. He goes for it. Bob Hoskins does too, though.
Everybody in this movie does a wonderful job.
They're acting their hearts out, and you just feel bad for them because you know how this movie was put together, like script-wise, and everything else just didn't work. It's very confusing. The story is very confusing.
Yeah, they just kind of said, I feel like Nintendo must have just handed like a brief description of like, here are the Mario Brothers, here's like a few bullet point facts about them, here's kind of their enemies. I guess make a movie out of that. And they're the screenwriter, who it was written by 3 people, Parker Bennett, Terry Runte, and Ed Solomon. They must have just been like, cool, I don't know anything about these games, let's make a movie. And they just wrote it.
Well, here's the beautiful thing about it is, according to like the development history, and this is just the things I've read like on Wikipedia and stuff, Nintendo was just like, we believe so much in Mario that just do whatever you want. Just go for it.
It's like, if you slap Mario on it, this is going to be a moneymaker. Don't even worry about it.
Yeah, and the people that wrote it are the same people that wrote that show Max Headroom, which is like this really weird British TV show.
That is a weird show.
Yeah, and so when you learn that and you watch this movie, you're like, okay, all of this kind of makes sense now, you know? Because the story, should we go through the story a little bit? Spoilers, I guess, to a movie from 1993.
Yeah, this movie's almost 30 years old, so if you haven't seen it yet, you can stop this podcast now and listen to our commentary of it.
Yeah, but Mario and Luigi are plumbers, okay? And they're down on their luck with their plumbing company, the Mario Brothers Plumbing.
Yep.
Right? And then in New York, they keep getting their job stolen by Scapelli, right? That's the name of it?
Yeah, it's like a rival plumbing firm who are definitely evil. And they seem to be like kind of Italian caricatures a little bit.
They're mafia.
Sort of racist.
They're like trying to be like mafia guys is what I got from it. They're really trying to go for it. But anyway, Scapelli gets mad because they discovered dinosaur bones, and NYU takes over their construction site.
In the middle of Manhattan.
Yeah, and then inadvertently, Luigi and Mario run into Daisy, Daisy from Super Mario Brothers, but
Yeah.
Daisy's an NYU student in this movie, and she's a paleontologist, much like Ross and Friends in that way. And they end up at the site with Daisy because Luigi and Daisy are on a date, and they find the Scapellis are trying to flood the site, and they have to stop them. Now, while all this is going on, is it called Dinosaur Land? Is that what they call it?
Yeah,
the
I think
other
so.
side?
Yeah, which is what it is in Super Mario World. Like that is the Super Mario World. It's called Dinosaur Land.
Yeah, these two, Spike and Iggy, from the Super Mario Brothers 3 and Super Mario World.
And they are cousins of Koopa in this one?
Yeah,
not Bowser,
they're not kids.
King Koopa.
Yeah, King Koopa. There is no Bowser, I guess. That's true. And they're trying to kidnap women because they're trying to find Daisy, because Daisy has a piece of a meteorite around her neck. Then if they put the meteorite piece into the meteorite, it'll merge Dinosaur Land and Earth together, and then King Koopa can rule everything.
Yeah, I guess the idea is that the meteor hit 65 million years ago and split the world into two dimensions. The one that is our dimension that humans went on to evolve from apes, and the one that is their dimension where humans went on to evolve from dinosaurs. And everything is bad over there. It just sucks to live in Dinosaur Land.
It's like the city of Dinosaur Land, and then the whole other planet's the desert. The rest of it's a desert. A lot of science getting thrown around in here.
It has real like cyberpunk vibes. Like this is like a dystopian like punk sort of, not steampunk, but like you know what I'm saying, like Night City in Cyberpunk 2077.
You said that, and I was like, I would play a Mario game where you're like in this version of Night City, and you have to go through.
Yeah, I would love a Mario game based on this movie.
That's right, with those costumes. Oh, yeah. Those overalls, get out of here. This is great. So, any hoozle, the big problem is when Daisy gets kidnapped by Iggy and Spike. Mario and Luigi go in to follow her. There's this shenanigans about getting the meteor rock piece and then rescuing Daisy, and all sorts of stuff happens, and in the end, everything's fine. But that's the basic plot of the movie, I guess. Oh, it's called Dino Hatton. That's the name of the
Dino
city.
Hatton. Okay, great.
They're not even trying. The coolest part to me is I feel like the portal to go to Dino Hatton looked a lot like the painting effects in Super Mario 64.
It does, yeah.
That was cool to me. But this movie is bad. And it's bad, I think, because you just heard us explain that plot to you. That's like the setup for the plot. There's so much other things going on. There's subplots with like Koopa's, is it his like girlfriend? Lena?
Yeah, it's like his girlfriend / like sort of assistant or partner who she's definitely in love with him, but he doesn't care about her. Classic story.
And then there's the Daisy's father becomes this fungus that takes over all of the Dino Hatton and the world.
Yeah, the Mushroom King.
Because, that's the big part of it. They don't kill anyone in this movie. They devolve them because instead of evolution, there's a devolution machine that Koopa uses to turn people that he doesn't like into these horrific monsters that they call Goombas that are so scary looking and unsettling. This is what
really
I thought.
Are.
I thought Yoshi was unsettling. I was wrong. I was thinking of these things that like nightmare fuel.
Oh yeah, Yoshi's just a little
dinosaur.
Little dinosaur.
Yeah, little baby dinosaur, which is cute and fine. But the Goombas are just terrifying looking. They're so scary. And it's because they have little tiny creepy heads and then huge humongous bodies that are just,
And you can tell the head is like on top of another person's head that's like inside of the suit. Like it just looks like a person is in this suit with a Goomba head on top, which is pretty funny looking. But the head is, the special effects on it are so good. Like the eyes move, the mouth opens and closes. Like this is some real top notch like animatronics because it definitely wasn't CG, right?
Yeah, the practical special effects in the movie are really well done. The CG in the movie is pretty bad. It was
93.
Is the 90s CG. Yeah.
Yeah, what are you going to do?
And I honestly think that that's made it more fun for me because I love like practical effects like that. And I think they do a really good job because it is unsettling to me. The Goombas are unsettling. My favorite part about all the henchmen, though, is that Toad gets turned into a Goomba, and the way you can tell he's Toad is they just have a harmonica around his neck the whole time.
Because he's like a musician. He's a street musician before he gets turned into a Goomba.
Mm-hmm. I also love that. This movie has very 90s energy, too.
Oh, yeah, big time.
With the fashion and all that stuff. It's great.
Yep. Everybody's wearing like spiky punk jackets.
Yeah, it's great. I guess because I know it's bad. It's not even like I love this movie. Ironically, I fully admit this movie's bad, but it's an entertaining movie.
It is. It's fun to watch. It's worth watching, even though, yeah, you don't watch it and go, wow, what a great movie. I feel I am moved, and my outlook on life is different. It's just like, it's just kind of goes all in, it knows what it is, and it just really goes all in on what it is. And you got to respect that, I think.
And I remember reading on the Wikipedia page before we even watched the movie that I don't even think Shigeru Miyamoto was super mad about the movie. I think he just was like, they kind of tried too hard to force Mario and Luigi and stuff from the video games into the movie when they should have just done whatever they wanted. That's kind of was his thought about it anyway. So it made me happy to know that he didn't get super mad at them for this.
Mm-hmm.
But I liked it.
Me too.
And also the music. Can we talk about the music for a second?
Oh yeah, there's some original songs for it too. This movie, like I said, they really went all out here.
What's the one called that I sent you? It's Walk the Dinosaur. George Clinton and the Goombas Walk the Dinosaur. There's an amazing music video associated with it. I will put it in the Discord probably tonight. I'll put it in there before we drop the episode.
Open the door, get on the floor. Everybody walk the dinosaur.
And they do this cool dancing stuff. Also, the effects of the bomb. I love how everyone gets so scared at the bomb, even though it's this little tiny itty bitty.
The explosion was so big, though.
It was such a big explosion, and I love that. I love that all the stores in the city of Dino Hatton are named after enemies. There's the Hammer Bros, Bullet Bills, the Thwomp Stompers, that shoe store that sells these shoes that make you jump really high. And to be fair, Mario and Luigi do quite a bit of platforming in this movie.
They really do. Lots of jumping in this movie.
So in a way, they really tried to stay to the story. Now, what are some things that you love, Tyler? We talked about talking about the Thwomp Stompers. We love those.
Yeah, things that I love in this movie. Well, the music, we already said it. There's several songs, and it is real good late 80s, early 90s energy on the music. So non-ironic ballads. Yeah.
They do dancing in this club scene. That's fun too.
Oh yeah, and they make the Goombas dance too, and all the Goombas. That's how they distract the Goombas. I love that.
That might be my favorite part of the whole movie. Is Mario and Luigi are stuck in an elevator, and there's all these Goombas, but they don't see them because they're dumb. They're these big dumb henchmen.
Yeah.
So what Mario and Luigi do is they make them start dancing to the music, and then it turns into all these Goombas slow dancing together in an elevator. And I'm like, this is just some good old fashioned family fun, I think, going on here.
So good. Oh man. And so I liked the costumes that they wear too. So they just wear normal clothes when they're in Manhattan, but when they get to Dino Hatton, they have to get into a club. They have to get into the Boom Boom Bar, which is where Big Bertha is the bouncer at the Boom Boom Bar. And because she has the crystal for some reason, Big Bertha got the crystal, which is a reference to the fish, right? In Super Mario, I think the fish is called Big Bertha.
That's right.
But they wear these awesome 70s suits for clubbing, and Mario and Big Bertha dance, and he's trying to get the rock from her while they're dancing, and it's very funny. I love it. He's got a lot of charm. He's telling Luigi what to say to Daisy to get her to date him. Mario is definitely he's got a lot of charm in this movie.
He really does. And they kind of mention that Mario and Luigi aren't blood-related brothers, but more like Mario adopted Luigi and raised him as his own son. Yeah. That wants him to be his brother. It's a weird dynamic.
Yeah, it's like a brother-son, because Mario is definitely significantly older than, it's Bob Hoskins and John Leguizamo. Oh, yeah, we got to talk about John Leguizamo, dude. This is before, he was really famous. It's he had done a couple other things before this, but I feel like he really wasn't doing anything until this movie, and then probably not for a while after this movie either. So it's really young, really early John Leguizamo, and he's still the same guy that he is in everything he is in.
Yeah, I think he's great. The only thing I told Tyler that I wish would have happened is I wish they would have played Luigi as a scaredy cat like he is in the games. But that's kind of a more modern trope.
Yeah, I don't think he had that like character trait yet until like Luigi's Mansion, right?
He had no personality until then.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a bummer. By the way, fun fact about this movie is this was a live-action Nintendo movie made in 1993. The next live-action Nintendo movie would be in 2019, and it would be Pokemon Detective Pikachu.
Which was also a great movie.
It took them to make it. Yeah, I loved Detective Pikachu.
Detective Pikachu was actually a good movie. Not like a bad good movie, but like an actually good movie.
Real good. Real good. Loved it. Dennis Hopper, I think, deserved some sort of award for how hard he carried a ruthless King Koopa.
Yeah, he really did.
Because he did a really good job with that. I love Dennis Hopper.
The two guys that played Iggy and Spike, too, Fisher Stevens from Succession, and I don't know the other guy's name, but they did a great job, too. And they get evolved at one point. There's the de-evolution gun, which turns people into Goombas. Then there's the evolution gun, which I guess makes them smarter. And so they get really smart, and they start thinking that they need to overthrow the ruthless dictator of King Koopa, and then they get in trouble. And it's funny.
I actually think the evolve and devolve gun was like a good plot point but I wanted them to go all in with it instead. You know, it's kind of like their answer to everything when you could have just made a whole movie about like evil guy evolving and devolving people. You didn't have to throw the whole Dino Land alternate dimension into it.
Yeah, Scapelli gets de-evolved into a little monkey.
That's right. I'm super bummed that Mario never eats the mushrooms in the movie. He's just given them. And then there's a scene where he gets like protected from a shot with it. You know, like the mushroom takes the gunshot. He gets protected. Yeah. But I'm like, I wanted to see Mario get big. Like, go all in. If you're going to go all in, you know?
Yep, I agree.
Have him eat a mushroom and then he becomes super strong, you know?
Yeah.
But then the problem would be you got kids everywhere eating mushrooms. You don't want that.
That's true. You can't be seen as encouraging eating mushrooms for any reason, I think. Well, it's not like mushrooms aren't food, I guess.
Yeah, you know, Tyler, but mushrooms can be poisonous.
That's true. And they can be hallucinogenic as well.
That is also true. So we did have a flaw in our commentary, Tyler, because apparently there is a post-credit scene. Did you know that? Oh,
no.
There is. It's when Iggy and Spike join the Avengers Initiative. No, I'm just kidding. It's when two Japanese business executives actually propose a video game to Iggy and Spike called the Super Koopa Cousins. I guess it's just like a little side thing.
Oh, that's
and we
funny.
missed it. But I was just like, yeah. So if you're listening to our commentary and you're like, why did they stop? We didn't know. We had no idea. We were just excited that we watched the movie together and it was really fun. Yeah.
So I want to talk a little bit about the critical and audience response to this movie on Rotten Tomatoes. 28% on Rotten Tomatoes, but also the audience score is low too. Usually movies like this, you get a low critic score because it's not a great movie, but you get a high audience score because it's funny. It's a fun movie. But nobody thought this movie was good except for you and me, I guess.
I guess nobody liked it. I remember as a kid watching it. I completely forgot it, though, because I think I haven't seen this movie in over 25 years, would be my guess.
Dang.
And, yeah, it's bad. I think the worst part about it is that the plot is just all over the place. That's the bad part, realistically, because, honestly, practical effects are good. The actors are good. It's over the top. It's Mario, but you just had a bad script, I think. Just a bad script. Bad plot. Kind of confusing. A lot of car chase scenes because it's a 90s movie and they love car chase scenes too.
Yeah. It definitely has strong like Universal backlot energy. Like they filmed the whole thing on like probably in LA. I don't know. Does it say where they filmed this?
Yeah, I don't know. I haven't looked it up, but that's one thing we should talk about though too. All the technology in Dino Land, they kind of justify, which I found was weird. Like all the cars are attached to those wires like buses are. So when they run off the wires, the cars die. It's kind of interesting. They like thought this all out. And I'm like, you put so much time into thinking out the infrastructure of Dino Manhattan, but you didn't put that time into the script.
Well, different people, I guess.
I guess. Two different teams. Someone was like, I have to justify how this car moves.
The people doing the production design are not the people writing the script.
I guess, but I thought it was entertaining. I thought it was fun. And
Yeah.
I had a good time, and I'm glad we watched it. And I think I agree with you. You say this in the commentary. This is better than the Doom movie.
It is better than the Doom movie. Doom movie is just like there's nothing like super enjoyable about it. You get The Rock, which is cool. Carl Urban is kind of neat, but that movie is just like not very good. But this one is at least fun. It goes all in, I think. It really like I mean I said it before, but it knows what it is and it just doubles and triples down on that. You know, it's not like I feel like the Doom movie may kind of have held back a little bit because it wasn't sure if it was any good. This movie knows what it is and just goes for it, you know?
Yeah, Doom had no personality, whereas this movie has a lot of personality.
Yeah. This is like a bunch of people working on this movie. They all know that they're making a movie that's not very good, but they just decide, like, you know what? We're going to make this the best bad movie we've ever made. And I think they succeeded.
Yeah, I do think they succeeded in that. And I'm excited to see what next horrible movie we watch, realistically.
Yeah.
It's going to be fun.
That like this in the legacy section on Wikipedia, it says, in a 2007 interview, Hoskins said, "The worst thing I ever did, Super Mario Brothers. That was an effing nightmare." The whole experience was a nightmare. Oh, man. A husband and wife team directing whose arrogance had been mistaken for talent. After so many weeks, their own agent told them to get off the set. Oh, man. It was a bad
There's more
experience
F
for him, I
words
guess.
in there, too. Yeah.
He and Leguizamo would get drunk before each day of filming and would continue to drink between takes. Wow.
That's pretty amazing to me.
I love it.
Is there anything about, like, what John Leguizamo thought about this whole thing?
It might be in here.
Oh,
Dennis Hopper also had bad things to say about it.
there it was. Leguizamo prepared a video message for the 20th anniversary saying, "I'm glad people appreciate the movie. It was the first. Nobody had ever done it before. I'm proud of the movie in retrospect." That's nice.
Yeah,
You know?
that's a nice like way to say this movie was bad, but you know it's fine. I'm okay with it.
Yeah. And then the woman that plays Princess Daisy said there were a lot of people that were excited to meet Princess Daisy. Yeah, I mean, this movie is just so out there. Again, I think the reason it's kind of beautiful why we have it because Nintendo really gave them license to do whatever they wanted, and that's what made this really weird thing. Now, while this really weird thing was is very bad, I still appreciate that they had the freedom to just go with it and make whatever they wanted.
Yeah, I
This
agree.
movie's bonkers. It's just so out there.
It's so worth watching. Like the Doom movie, I would say you could skip. This movie, worth watching.
Yeah, Doom movie's trying to be a generic action film. It's honestly kind of trying to be Alien, realistically. And then this movie is just so out there that it's worth watching.
Yep, I agree.
I think we've kind of given it our due diligence. Now let's read some emails and play 20 questions, which I'm excited about. So let's go
Ooh,
emails
yeah.
first.
Okay.
Emails first. I'm going to read this email. It's from Austin. Here we go. "Hi, my name is Austin, and I have been listening for almost a year now. I just wish the episodes were longer since I got listening time." Yeah, I'm sorry about that. I wanted to ask, well, the commentary is like an hour and 45 minutes, right?
Yes, as long as the movie is.
Yeah, so I wanted to ask you how you felt about certain companies, Nintendo, in all caps and parentheses, are holding the classic games library hostage. It takes months to get a new N64 game on Switch, and there is very little there. With the ease of obtaining retro games, why does Nintendo seem to only hand them out piecemeal? Well, I think they know if they put all the N64 games on the N64 emulator, people are going to play them really quickly, and then they're going to lose that subscription. So my guess is they're going to put them out one at a time every month to kind of keep people subscribed for as long as possible. What do you think, Tyler?
I think there's I've run into this issue before, like if you have an emulator where you have access to every single game ever made for a console, at least for me, I like end up not playing very many games because there's just so much choice, right? There's just like, and when you play one game, because you can just quickly switch to any other game, when that game like frustrates you for any reason, you could just turn it off and find another one. And so you sort of get spoiled by having so many games that you just end up not playing any of them. And I think maybe Nintendo is trying to avoid that by only having like a smaller subset of games, I guess. I mean, that's like the charitable version. There's the uncharitable version that's like, well, they just want you to buy more games. But I think you're right in that, like, if they just had every single Nintendo 64 game on there, people would subscribe for like a month, play the 2 or 3 games that they remember from when they were a kid, and then be like, wow, there's so many games here, I'm never going to play any more of these games. And then they would just stop being subscribed to it. So by having a smaller, like, sort of more rotating library, I think they can keep those subscriptions longer, like you said.
Yeah, I think that's a good... Yeah, I agree. All right, so Austin goes on to say, also wanted to point out I have never seen what you two looked like. But from the voices, I assume it's a Laurel and Hardy situation where one is big and surly and the other is thin and lanky. Figure out who it is on your own accord. I'm big and surly. Okay. Thanks, guys. And Tyler, you sound too pure to be in cahoots with this rapscallion M. Coletta. Don't trust those Italians. That's how Austin ends the email. I like that it's M. Coletta, like I'm an author.
M. Coletta, yeah.
Yeah.
M.R.R. Coletta.
It's a solid use of rapscallion. You don't hear that much anymore. So thank you for the email, Austin. You want to read Mackenzie's email?
Yeah, Mackenzie says, Mackenzie again, time for that long email I promised. I caught up on the podcast and am sadly struggling to come to terms with the fact that I'll have to wait a week for each episode now instead of listening to 20 episodes a week. What have you done to me? Being only 13 years old, I have no memory of 99% of what you talk about on the podcast. The last 1% is me playing Wii Bowling and Guitar Hero with my dad when I was 3 or 4, and I still barely remember that. In Guitar Hero, I could only use rainbow mode because I had the hand-eye coordination of a pickle. I like to think I'd be better at it now. I don't think pickles have very good hand-eye coordination, so that's
pretty
probably
bad.
good.
You know, I tried to play Guitar Hero with the pickle. It didn't work.
Yeah. I've never played any of the games you talk about either, but I love listening to you talk about them and the history of them. Hopefully one day I'll be able to get a vintage console and play some of your favorites. I hope so too. Mike, I'm glad you liked Pokemon Legends Arceus. I was so excited when you said you were playing it because I recently got it on my grandma's Switch, and I loved it for all the same reasons you did. I love filling out Pokedex entries and the fact that you can sneak up behind Pokemon. I could only play for a week before I had to go home, so I never got past the Obsidian Fieldlands. I spent an entire 2 hours trying to follow the arrow when there was this huge mountain in the way that was literally impossible to get around. I feel like I had that issue in that spot too.
Yeah, that's a weird spot. I think I know what they're talking about. Also, how cool is your grandma that they have a Switch?
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Pretty sweet. Yeah. My grandma didn't have a Switch.
Mine didn't either, but that was a long time ago, I guess.
That's true.
Before Switches. Someone mentioned that the game had bad graphics and the frame rate went down sometimes, and I was actually surprised. I had noticed once birds flapping their wings like a slideshow, but when I first saw the game, I was impressed by how amazing the graphics were. I don't play a lot of games. Maybe I was comparing it to the only other Pokemon I had played, Let's Go Eevee. I'm not a game expert or anything, so I'm not going to disagree with anybody. I just like to play the game. What I don't like is getting stuck behind a mountain. Speaking of Let's Go Eevee, because I'm incapable of staying on topic, I played the game a few years ago and was completely unaware that a Pokemon's level made it stronger. I don't think I even knew they had levels. Needless to say, I didn't spend time leveling them up or teaching them new moves and was destroyed repeatedly by the Elite Four. I never finished that game. Sobs. I could totally go back and beat that game, but I'm currently obsessed with Arceus, so I will not be doing that. I have lots more to talk about, but this is getting long and I need to save some for next week. Looking forward to the next episode. Spider Butts, Mackenzie from Washington. P.S. My mom finds it annoying that I talk about stuff I learned on the podcast so much. I will not be stopping.
Good. Annoy your mom. She's got to learn some video game history.
Thanks, Mackenzie.
Thank you for sending us that email. That's so nice. Also, I love that idea that you're playing Pokemon and you're like, that's just the Pokemon's age. It's not their level. It's just how old they are. That's how I would think of it.
Older Pokemon are stronger.
You know? Facts, they're wiser too. You know? Also, yeah, that mountain thing. I remember getting confused about that for a little bit too.
Yeah.
Yeah. But that's cool. Thank you for the email, Mackenzie. We really appreciate it. And I will read the next one. Are you ready for me to read the next one, Tyler?
Yeah.
This is from Mo. Favorite game mechanics. It says, hey dudes, it's Mo. I love the episode on video game mechanics. What a great idea. You mentioned the importance of keeping open world traversal fun. And of course, I was reminded of Morrowind's brutally slow walking and fatigue system. One of the most painful game mechanics that even Bethesda fanboys like me take issue with. Thankfully, there's definitely been a shift away from the slow pseudo-realistic travel in games to a more video gamey travel that just makes the experience easier and more enjoyable. Death Stranding was an outlier though, and some even criticized it as being a AAA walking simulator. That's in quotes. I definitely appreciate games that make exploration fast and easy. Game devs spend a lot of time making interesting worlds to explore, almost like digital museums or art galleries in a way. So why not give the player lots of freedom to explore at their own pace? Anyway, here are some of my favorite game mechanics. Kirby Superstar's copy abilities, and the power to create a co-op companion from any ability. That's super cool. The free running and climbing in Assassin's Creed games, Mega Man 3 introducing the slide mechanic was a game changer for the series. Mario Galaxy's spring mode is hilarious. I couldn't stop laughing the first time Mario turned into a spring. I had to pause the game. Link's Ocarina in Ocarina of Time may have been the first time in a game that a fully functioning digital instrument was both programmed into a game and used to affect gameplay. Incredible. I really liked the Heraldric Cube in Diablo 2. Combining gems and runes into powerful new items was super addictive. That was really fun. Did you ever mess with that?
No, but I think I played the original Torchlight, and I think it has a mechanic that's similar to that, and I had a lot of fun combining gems and stuff into like getting cooler and better gems. So I think it's a similar thing. So I think I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. In Earthbound, lower level enemies will run away from you if your level is high enough. If you chase and make contact with them, you'll just defeat them without battling and immediately gain XP. I just heard about this mechanic because I finally started playing Earthbound. I will talk about that later, but that's fine. And I think that's great that you just skip the battles and you just get the XP. That's wonderful. In Team Fortress 2, the soldier class can jump super high if he shoots a rocket at the ground while jumping. Sadly, in most other shooters, if you try this, you'll just blow yourself up.
Yeah, that's a holdover from like Quake, I think. Quake had rocket jumping in it.
Oh, that's cool. Some may disagree, but I really like the materia system in Final Fantasy VII.
Same.
Also, I love all the game mechanics in Valve's Ricochet, best game ever made. Now you're trolling, Mo. Surely, though, if you're talking about video game mechanics, you can't forget Ratchet from Ratchet and Clank, who is an actual mechanic that fixes things. Nyuk nyuk. Okay, I'll see myself out. Spider Butts, Mo. Yeah, I haven't messed with that rocket jump thing enough, but I remember we could have done that when we played Quake. We should have done that.
Yeah.
Do you want to read Mark's email?
Yeah. Mark says, the subject here is slow-mo shooters and pixel horror. Hi, Mike and Tyler. In your episode on favorite game mechanics, you talked about games that feature slow motion, and this reminded me of a game I had completely forgotten about, John Woo's Stranglehold. The game is a sequel to Woo's film Hard Boiled and even stars Chow Yun-fat from the movie. If you know anything about John Woo, it's probably that he loves having characters leap through the air while firing guns. Stranglehold has a bullet time mechanic that lets you leap through the air in slow-mo while shooting at enemies. If you've seen Hard Boiled, you should look up the gameplay. And if you haven't seen Hard Boiled, you should see Hard Boiled. Also, I know Mike is specifically into fishing horror games, but his talk about Fishing Vacation reminded me of Faith, a DOS-style horror game that is really impressive in how creepy it is with such simple graphics. Definitely recommend if you want an exorcism-themed break from fishing. Thanks as always for the great podcast, Mark. Thanks, Mark.
Yeah, thank you, Mark. I've 100% watched playthroughs of Faith, actually, because that's kind of when I went down this rabbit hole, I saw that. So that's funny that you recommend it. I'm excited. I should play these, but I'm too much of a scaredy cat. I just like to watch people play these horror games because they're too scary to me.
Yeah, I get you.
All right. Next email. I'm going to skip ahead and read this email from Will.
Okay.
Because this email, it says, Happy 200. And this is a trivia email. So I've read these trivia questions because I read them on accident when I was going through the emails the other night. And Tyler hasn't read them, so he's going to go for the trivia here. Okay, you ready?
Yeah.
Good morning, Mike and Tyler. Just wanted to reach out and congratulate y'all on 200 episodes. I've been listening since summer 2019, and the podcast has never failed to make my Mondays better. Since it's the 200th episode, I thought it would be fun to submit some trivia questions to you guys. Okay, here we go, Tyler. You ready?
Yeah.
How many Nintendo DS titles sold over 1 million copies?
How many sold over 1 million? I feel like 1 million's not that much.
Yeah.
How close do I have to? Am I trying to get like the exact number?
I mean, if you got it exact, that'd be pretty crazy. But if you're ballpark,
127.
That's pretty close. 139. Wow.
Oh, wow. Okay.
That's really close. Dang, Tyler, you're crushing it already. Okay. Which Nintendo franchise in this list is Miyamoto not responsible for? F-Zero, Mario, Star Fox, Metroid, or Zelda? So you're looking for the one Miyamoto is not responsible for.
Oh, I'm going to guess. I guess it's Metroid.
That's correct.
Okay.
Wow, you're kind of 2 for 2 right now. What is the best-selling single video game of all time?
Wii Sports.
Minecraft.
Or maybe Tetris. Oh, Minecraft. Okay.
Now, what is the second best-selling video game? This is a bonus question, by the way.
Tetris.
Yeah, well, okay.
Or Grand Theft Auto 5.
Is Grand Theft Auto 5. That's so funny. But it says Grand Theft Auto 5, parentheses, somehow Tetris did not crack this. So you and Will are on the same wavelength. What is the worst reviewed video game of all time?
Big Mother Truckers? I don't know.
Wow, you're actually pretty close. It's 2003's Big Rigs on PC.
Oh, Big Rigs. Okay. Oh, yeah. That's the one that like is broken, right?
Yeah, it's been called the worst game of all time by GameSpot, XPlay, and for a long time had the lowest aggregate score on Metacritic. I wonder what beat it. What was the first video game character to have a balloon at the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade?
Sonic.
Yes. Jeez, you're really good at these.
I just read a bunch of books on video game history. I knew it was Sonic.
Nice. All right, Will says, thanks for playing, guys, and here's to 200 more. Side note, I know you guys have stopped reading reviews, but one of my sports podcasts has a deal where if you leave them 5 stars, they will read anything you write, including legitimate criticism. Someone made them read the beginning of the B-movie script, and it was glorious. I am totally not suggesting this because I plan to send you lines from Attack of the Clones. Will from the year 2022 AD. You know what? I do check the reviews still. So if you sent us something and it was a 5 stars and you say in it, Mike, read this on the podcast, I'll probably read it on the podcast. As long as it's like clean and appropriate. You know what I mean?
Sure.
But we do appreciate the 5-star reviews. They really help us out and we like it. So thank you for people who have done that to us. Done that for us. I guess. You want to read Matt's email?
Yeah, we got an email from Matt in Japan here. He says, the subject is favorite game mechanics. Matt says, hey, Mike and Tyler, I'd like to share one of my favorite game mechanics, and that is surprisingly fun mini games that are part of the main game. I'm sure most people will say Triple Triad from Final Fantasy VIII and Gwent from The Witcher as their favorites, minus the Hostess Club management mini game from Yakuza 0 and Yakuza Kiwami 2. I also really like, he has a pronunciation guide here for you, Mike.
And for me specifically,
yeah,
which I actually really appreciate. Thank you,
Kiwami. I also really like that super dumbed down RTS / tower defense Fort Condor minigame in the original version of Final Fantasy VII. As for best gaming music moments, it has to be the intro from Doom 2016 where the music ends in sync with Doom Guy cocking his shotgun. I agree. That is an all-time, like, it really sets you up for that game. Like, when that happens, you're just like, oh, yes, this is what this game is. I love it. Also, as a possible discussion episode idea, you could take this topic and flip it by listing your guys' most hated game mechanics. Matt in Japan. Thanks, Matt. That's a great idea. We should do that.
That would be me ranting about how much I hate QuickTime events for 10 minutes.
Yeah.
But also, speaking of me being bad at pronouncing things, this is going to be a correction. I've been calling, I've been saying Hiroshi Yamauchi.
Yeah.
And it's Yamauchi. I found out. Yeah. I also don't, it is Hiroshi, right? I'm not wrong there.
I think so. Yeah.
Yes, it is. Okay. I am correct in that. I was like, if I just got the first name wrong with making a correction, I would feel so bad about myself.
You have to correct your correction.
Yeah. But it's Yamauchi is how it's pronounced, I believe. And I've been saying that wrong the entire time. And I found that out watching a video and I was like, oh man. But you know what? I'm trying to learn. Maybe I should just try to learn Japanese as a fun hobby. I think it's cool. And I've always wanted to go to Japan. So, yeah. Anyway. But thank you, Matt. That's very nice of you to send us that email. And also, I do like that hated list. We try to keep it positive on this show, but I feel like to get that sweet, sweet clickbait going on, we got to do some worst stuff. You're not going to believe the worst video game in all caps.
And we'll post pictures of our faces, like just being really angry.
Yeah, we got to do more stuff about that. And then people are going to be like, they really are like Laurel and Hardy. That's what they'll say. Okay. This one is from Siren. It is my favorite game mechanics. Hi, Mike and Tyler. It is I, Siren from the Philippines, once more here to add to the wonderful discussion of favorite video game mechanics. I only have 2 that stood out to me. First is GTA Chinatown Wars drug dealing mechanic. Basically, you roam around the map to buy and sell drugs, and that's it. Well, not really. Each day, some drugs go on sale, in which you can buy low and then sell high to another region of Liberty City. There's also a time where in one region in particular, drug is in demand, and dealers would be willing to pay high amounts of cash for that drug. It has economics to it. What made this mechanic fun is not only because I get rich fast, it's because I really like the hustling criminal trying to get the buck, and not just a protagonist with plot armor slaughtering hundreds of people. I hope this mechanic makes its way into future GTA games, especially in 6, if the rumors are true that it will be set in Vice City.
That sounds like Dope Wars. Did you ever play that on like your calculator or Palm Pilot, or it was on everything? That was like the whole point of Dope Wars, was to buy and sell drugs, like buy low, sell high. And you had to hide it from your teachers because it was about drug dealing. So
I love how it taught kids economics, though, in a way.
yeah, it really did.
Yeah. Also, you know, a lot of people are like kind of skeptical about GTA 6 being in Vice City, and I'm kind of excited about it, especially
Me
the
too.
idea of it being like modern Vice City after the heyday of the 80s and it's kind of run down.
Oh,
I think that
yeah.
could be kind of cool.
Yeah, definitely. I'm excited for it.
All right. The next part of the email from Siren goes on like this. The second and last mechanic is Dragon Age Origins Origin System. The Origin System is basically you choose a race, and the first hour or so you play through the Origin attached to that race you picked. Each race has a unique origin story to them, which makes the world more alive and gives the game more replayability. I love it because, as someone who played it for the first time, I instantly felt like I was part of that world. It allows you to forge what kind of personality your character would have based on their backstory, and it gives the decisions you make for them justification. Like, for instance, if you play as an elf, it's established on the origin part that humans are not nice to them. So later on, you can commit war crimes against them if you want to, and use your character as experienced in the origin story as a justification for doing that. It really is a true role-playing experience. That's all. Congratulations on your 200th episode, Spider Butts.
Thanks,
Thank
Siren.
you. Appreciate it. Those are two great things. The Origins mechanic, that's really cool. I never played a Dragon Age game, and I feel like
Me
I'm
neither.
missing out. I feel like I'm really missing out.
Good things. Yeah.
Well, we're going to play a game of 20 questions, right?
Yeah.
Which
Yep.
means I need to pull up Mo's help questions because you got to use them, right? So I could use them.
Yeah,
That's
that's true.
okay. All right.
Yep. Okay, so I'm thinking of a game that I know you're aware of.
Okay. So I'm going to narrow it down first with this. Was the game originally released after the year 2000?
No.
Did this game release on a cartridge?
No.
Oh, man. So it's on a disc. Because a cart would be a game. This is not a question. A cart would be a Game Boy cart too, right? That would be a cartridge too.
Yeah.
Okay. Is this game on a Sony console?
Yes.
Is this a part of the Final Fantasy series?
No.
Does this game involve cars?
No.
How many questions am I at? That
that's
doesn't
like
count as a
5.
question. That doesn't count as a question.
That's like 5, I think.
Is this game a role-playing game?
No, not from like a genre perspective.
Okay. Is this game a sports game?
No.
How can I narrow it down some more? Is this game a shooter? Or do you want me to get more specific?
Yeah. Get.
Is this game a first-person shooter?
No.
Is this game Star Wars based?
No.
Oh my gosh, this is really making it hard for me.
I think we're up to 9 questions now. Somebody's
Oh.
keeping track and they're like, no, it's 10.
This is hard.
Yeah.
Before 2000, PlayStation game that's not an RPG. It's not a sports game. Did I ask that? Yeah, I did.
Yeah, you asked.
Does this game involve tomb raiding?
No.
I'm just trying to be super specific now. I asked if it was driving, right? I already did that.
Yeah.
I asked if it was Final
cars.
Fantasy. I asked if it was Final Fantasy. It's not. How can I narrow this down some more? Does this game have a fantasy setting?
No.
Oh my gosh. This is so hard now. PlayStation game. And I know this game.
Yes.
And it's going to make me really mad if I don't get it, you think?
Yeah. I'm not counting these as questions. But
I know. Yeah, I know. What else can can help me out here. Did this game release on the PlayStation 1?
Yes.
So that's 10 questions now? 11?
No, it's like 12.
12? Oh, no. Is this game... It's not a shooter. It's not... Is this game a PlayStation exclusive?
Yes.
Oh, man.
Well, no, technically not.
Oh, no. PlayStation, but it's not an exclusive. It's not... Is this game a horror game?
No.
It's not a sports game. It's not a first-person shooter. It's not Star Wars related. It's not Cars related. I was thinking Twisted Metal when I asked about Cars. That's what I was thinking about. It's not a fantasy game. Oh my gosh, I'm just having a mind blank here. It's not a Tomb Raider game. We've covered that already. I'm at like 14 questions probably now, right?
Yep.
I'm trying to rack my brain. Is this game a third-person shooter?
Not strictly by genre. I would not say that.
Not strictly by genre. Okay.
Which is not a yes or no question, but I'm trying to help you out here.
Well, thanks. I appreciate it because I feel like I might be the first one to lose 20 questions on our podcast. That's how I'm feeling right now. Do you think by now someone's probably yelling it into the microphone? 100%. Is this game a platformer?
No.
This is not narrowing it down. It's not a shooter. Came out in the before the year 2000. It's not a horror game, so Resident Evil's out. It's not Tomb Raider. It's not Gran Turismo. Oh man, this is so hard for me. It's not a platformer. That kind of Ratchet and Clank didn't come out until after 2000, right?
Yeah, and that's a PlayStation 2 game.
It's a PlayStation 2 game, that's what I thought. Oh man. I'm trying to think of the old PlayStation games. It's not a Final Fantasy game. It's not a role-playing game. We've already covered that. It's not a horror game. Is this game based on Is this game an original game franchise? It's not a movie or anything like that? That's what I'm asking.
Oh, yeah, it is game-only franchise.
Game-only franchise. PlayStation. It's got some shooting mechanics to it. But not entirely a shooter. This is what's funny is PlayStation's like my weakness, I think. I don't even know.
Three more.
Is this game a stealth game?
Yes.
Is this game Metal Gear Solid?
You got it. Whew.
Oh,
close.
Oh my gosh, I almost whiffed it. Whiffed it. That was so scary. I don't know why. I was like brain farting and I was just thinking about Crash Bandicoot that whole time. I had Bandicoot on the brain, Yeah. Oh man.
Like you do.
I'm going to get raked across the coals for how long that took me. Oh. Oh man. It's also hard because I only ever played the demo of Metal Gear Solid. So it's on PlayStation Original, so it doesn't really come to my mind of nostalgic PlayStation memories.
Yep.
Oh.
And it wasn't technically an exclusive. People probably think it is, but it did have a PC release.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad I won and I didn't lose horribly.
Yeah, me too.
Well, I like that we root for each other in 20 questions.
Yeah, I'll try to help you out.
Thank you. Well, do you want to play real quick? What you been playing this week? I guess we should just do it.
New season of Destiny, so back in on that, of course. Been trying to grind out Pinnacles, hoping to get to Grandmaster Nightfall level this season, because I did not make it there last season, which is kind of a bummer. But I've been traveling. I went to South Korea last week, which was a lot of fun, but I didn't really have a lot of time to play games, so I still am really just playing Destiny when I get time. But I am about to jump back into Tunic, I think, because I really want to finish that game.
Nice. Well, I just beat Tunic. Actually, I guess it was a week and a half ago or so, because we we had a lull in our episode there because you were out of town and we just were busy. You know, I played Tunic, and then my friend Lisa got me into playing Earthbound. So I've started that. I'm like, seriously, like, I went and found the boy's friend and came back to the house. I haven't played that much games because I've been all up in Destiny, like we all have, you know, on our friend group, because it's back again. So, but yeah, I'm really enjoying Earthbound. Like, I think it's going to be a cute, fun little game. And it's my, like, I'm going to play that while traveling game, because that game does not suck a lot of power from the Switch. I'm pretty confident I can play Earthbound for a very long time on the Switch. You know what I mean?
You're probably right. Yeah.
So, but yeah, it's super fun. And my goal here is, I personally feel like I didn't give Undertale its due on our episode. And Undertale takes a lot of its inspiration from Earthbound. So I want to play Earthbound, and then I want to go back and play Undertale as like a little mission for me to see what
you can catch all the Earthbound references.
Yeah, and I just feel like I have a hard time with RPGs, because I have a hard time now as an adult committing to any series that's going to be over 10 hours. So I kind of just like play Wolfenstein games sometimes because they're shooters and they're quick. There's like the new Wolfenstein games, you just break through those. Play that a little bit too. But yeah, so this was it though. This was episode 200, and then we'll have the commentary coming out in a bit, which I'm really excited about. And I hope you enjoyed it. And again, like, we can't stress this enough. Thank you so much for listening to the podcast. Like, we had no idea when we started. I think I didn't. This is bonkers to me that we have the listening that we have. And it's super fun that everyone likes to listen and hang out with us. It's cool.
Yeah. I'm excited.
Me too. Well, with that, do you want to say bye to everybody, Tyler, on the 200th episode?
Wow. 200th episode. Thanks for listening, everybody. Goodbye.